Hello dear all. So in this lecture we discuss the chapter from Kane's philosophy, that is chronic miasm syphilis. It's a 20th chapter. This PowerPoint presentation prepared by the MD students, that is Dr. Anuja. So I am thankful to her. Syphilis is a venereal chronic miasm primarily manifested outwardly by the venereal chancre developed following an impure coition. So, what is Henneman's syphilitic miasm? Syphilis is a venereal chronic miasm. So, Dr. Kane discusses that the syphilis is a chronic miasm which develops after the effect of the disease syphilis. So, the syphilis as a disease manifests primarily as a venereal chancre. All of us know that syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease. So we have to study what are the primary manifestations and what are the secondary manifestations of this syphilis. Primary manifestations of syphilis are that the primary manifestation is the venereal chancre developed after an impure coition, usually between the 17th and 14th day and rarely sooner or later, and mostly on the member infected with the miasm. So miasm here, it means it is an infection, it's a contagion which has gone inside the patient. So these are the observations noted by Dr. Kent. What happens to this patient who is being infected with syphilis? So in this chapter, so many observations are noted by Dr. Kent, and then we can draw the inference. At first, there appears a little pustule which change into an impure ulcer with raised border and stinging pains. If it is not cured, it remains standing on the same place during man's lifetime, only increasing with the years. The secondary symptoms cannot break out as long as it exists. So, this is a feature of the Henneman syphilitic miasm also, that the long standing ulcers these are the manifestations of the syphilitic miasm. So we have to always keep it in mind what is a primary manifestation. It is seen outside on the skin. So here it is in the form of ulcer. The secondary symptoms cannot break out as long as it exists. So the concept is that the internal affection of the syphilitic miasm is not there till the time the primary manifestation on the skin exists. Secondary manifestation of syphilis. So let's see. When the allopathic physician destroys this chancre by means of corroding, cauterizing and desiccating substances, it is replaced by more painful substance, the bubo, which hastens towards the suppuration. It destroys bones and tissues, produce ulcerations and bone caries. So the allopathic physician who is unaware of or ignorant of what will be the consequences of removal of this chancre, then it destroys bones, and when it will also produce the tissue ulceration and the destruction of the bone in the form of bone caries. So removal of the primary manifestation, that is chancre, leads to further destruction of bones and tissues. So this is the concept of suppression, that primary symptoms are seen externally on skin and secondary symptoms are seen after the removal of this primary symptom by means of surgery, ointments or cauterization. Physician is ignorant of what he has done. According to Dr. Kent, the prodromal period is 12 to 15 days or 15 to 60 days. In some cases, acute miasm or a bad cold or a drug disturbing the economy may prevent the external manifestations and prolong the prodromal period, but it is usually from 12 to 15 days if in no way disturbed or interrupted. So this information is given by Dr. Kent about the disease syphilis, that we are aware of it. So the prodromal period, that we also call as incubation period, increases with the contagion of the various stages. This is an observation that you will be able to verify in homeopathic practice, but one that the book will not give. So the book speaks of the primary contagion as the only contagion in connection with the syphilitic miasm. So let's see further. According to Dr. Kane, the syphilitic miasm is a disease that would run for a definite time, and suppose that an individual has gone through with the primary manifestation and is told by his physician that he can safely marry. So the syphilitic miasm, it will run for a definite time, and suppose the individual has gone through the primary manifestation, he has shown the chancre and the physician has removed the chancre, then he is telling the patient that he can safely marry. But what has happened here, that only the chancre externally present was removed. The internal infection still remains. Now what happens further? If he marries, his wife becomes an invalid, but she does not go through the primary manifestation, the initial lesion and the roseola, but she has the syphiloderma and the symptoms which belong to the later stage of the disease. So these are the again observations, that if this person who has removed the primary chancre and now he is given the clean sheet by the physician to get married, and now he gives this infection to the wife, and the wife again gets the more later stages of the disease. So it means syphilis is sexually transmitted disease, and now it going from the husband to the wife, and the wife may get the advanced stage of the disease. The disease is transferred from husband to wife, and it is taken up in the stage in which then exists, and from then goes on in a progressive way. The woman catches it from the man in the stage in which he has it at the time of their marriage. She takes that which he has, and if he has it in the advanced stage, she takes it in that stage, and she takes from him the stage he has to offer. So what happens, that the woman can take the disease as her husband was having that stage, or if he has the advanced stage, the woman will again take the advanced stage of the disease. Now, law of dissimilars, how it is protective. So, law of dissimilars is a law of protection which is already described by Dr. Hahnemann, that about the heading of what happens when two dissimilar diseases meet in nature. All of us know the three conditions. So we go here with the discussion. The law of protection by dissimilars often comes in here and saves the wife system from receiving a new infection of either SORA, psychosis or syphilis. The disorders already present in her economy may be so wholly dissimilar that they protect her from contagion. Thus, it is that a woman may have condition with a man that has psychosis in the form of GLEAT. So, a woman may have coition with a man who is already infected with the gonorrhea and yet not have it indicated upon her. She may have protection against form of chancre. So she will be protected from syphilis. If patient has gonorrhea, she won't suffer from syphilis. Syphilis transmitted from parents to child. So she may remain in contact with him as a wife and even have a child by him. And the child will be black with syphilis while she has no symptoms of syphilis. The reason of that is that the child is from the seed of the father who had syphilis as a primary manifestation as a chancre, and the mother only furnishes the groundwork. So the mother has taken this syphilitic miasm from her husband, and this mother has given it to the child. So Dr. Kane notes down his observations that when the infection takes place, the primary stage, there is no way of disguising it. It is evident. It is seen outside on the skin. But if it occurs in the secondary or tertiary stages, there is really no way of detecting it immediately because it goes on insidiously. It goes on slowly. If the husband has the primary sore will manifest itself in the wife. So if the primary chancre is there, then it will get manifested in the wife. But if he gives the disease to his wife in the tertiary stage, with every manifestation suppressed or passed by, then you will not be able to know whether she has taken the disease or not. So then the previously it is being noted down by Kane that if the wife gets the infection from husband at the primary stage, she either may get in the primary form or she may also get in the advanced form. We have already seen in studying the organon that when the diseases are dissimilar to each other, one repels the other. So that if the woman has something in her economy in the form of chronic disease, perhaps phthysical condition, that is tuberculosis, she will be protected from getting this syphilis. Dissimilars repel each other and similar attract and cure each other. Yet, if the dissimilar soric manifestation is of a milder type and can be substituted by the contagion, then the syphilitic conditions comes in. So, if the dissimilar soric manifestation is milder and then it can be substituted by the contagion of syphilis, then the syphilitic condition comes in. That we already know that whenever in two dissimilar condition, if the first is weaker and second is stronger, then the stronger will occupy the patient. At the end of the prodromal period, we may expect chancre, and at the end of about 6 weeks, we may expect the external manifestation, the roseola and other eruptions. This is about the syphilis. So, outward manifestation of the earlier period of secondary syphilis are the mucus patches in the throat, ulcers in the throat, falling of hair. In weakly subjects, this comes on very feeble. In robust, vigorous constitution, these manifestations comes vigorously. Homeopathic treatment. What is the role of homeopathic treatment? The homeopathic treatment strikes at the root of the evil and will take hold of that which would become latent and will so turn the things into order that the chance that is painful will become painless, will continue on as a mild and harmless sore. So what is the role of homeopathic treatment? It will remove the contagion, it will remove the miasm from the roots, and it will turn the things into order, and chancre which was painful now becomes painless and will continue on as a mild and harmless sore. The bubo will be hastened to suppuration when it would not otherwise suppurate. The mucus patches will be checked. The sore throat will be greatly relieved so that patient is made more comfortable in all the manifestations. In old cases that has been 5 to 10 years going the rounds, getting all sorts of vicious treatment, and the patient has those awful biparietal head pains. He is becoming weaker in mind. He is getting the tertiary manifestations in general tendency to gummatous formations and deep-seated ulcerations and threatening to breakdown of health. So this will take place in the old cases, long-standing cases, where the tertiary syphilitic manifestations will be seen. You will find constitutional remedies can only restore him and cure him by bringing out external manifestations upon his body somewhere. If you save him at all so that he is worth living, these suppressed manifestations must come back, and they will come back under appropriate treatment. So this is the appropriate treatment if given, that is homeopathic treatment if given, the suppressed manifestations also comes back. So the conclusion here that we can have the learning that the primary manifestations must never be removed by surgery. First of all, the primary manifestations are due to the internal miasmatic cause, the infection or contagion. Homeopathic remedy silences the internal miasm and removes the external manifestation. So this was the discussion about the syphilitic miasm as given in the Keynes philosophy, and the observations are noted down by Dr. Kent. Thank you.